Good afternoon, everyone. We're about to open the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on Tuesday, the 19th of December, 2023. We are now open. Mr. Vernovic.
Tonight we have a request from a Jeff Bishop, and I think it actually is Jeffrey L. and Angela Bishop. That's who is on the contract to purchase this piece of property. Piece of property is a 55-foot wide parcel of property located on South Main Street, and included in your packet is the advertisement for the public hearing. The request, Mr. Bishop, the applicant, is here, and both the Wolves are represented, which is the white home to the right, and Antonia Herring, who is the owner of the greenhouse, which is to the left, are both here. Have received letters and notices. Again, the request is we have a non-conforming lot of 55 feet, standard or typical. New lot in that district, if a new one was subdivided, would be 80 feet, okay? We had this discussion some time ago about how do we handle these, and those that are closer to 80 feet we handle internally, but these 50-foot lots and 55-foot lots, yeah, we got a bunch of them. There's probably, I'm not exactly 40% of the town. Perhaps are in these 25-foot lots. So we, if you guys remember, we've probably dealt with a half a dozen of these. Very similar, but most of them have been on 50-foot lots. Okay? If you remember, Mr. Coles had an application on
Dillard
Street.
Street,
And
yeah,
a couple others where he offered up a home that was 26 feet in width and then offered the 12 feet on either side. Our standard is on the side setbacks is 15% of your frontage. So on an 80-foot lot, which is the standard we use, 15% being 12 feet. And that's, for the most part, what has been approved, except for one on College Avenue. I think there was a gentleman that requested one instead of 12 and 12. I think he made it like 8 and 16 because there was another house pretty darn close in an alley on that other side. But it's a very similar request. The home is 22 feet wide, and I'm going to assume it's going to look a whole lot like the one that's under construction now. Yes. On the other side of the street, and there's a set of the drawings included for your consideration. And the lot is 55 feet. The home being proposed is 22 feet wide, which would leave 16 and a half feet on either side if centered on the lot. And 16 and a half feet would be the equivalent of a side yard obligation for a 110-foot lot, double what we see here. And the request is to allow it. But I did want to bring to your attention where we talk about these. This is a section out of our zoning ordinance. And as we continue to have these discussions about these lots, I'll read this very carefully. In section 15-7 of the, and this is out of the zoning ordinance of the town, it says any lot of record at the time of the adoption of this ordinance, or which is less in area or width than the minimum required by this ordinance, which this is, the minimum required now. If you cut a new one, it's 80 feet. This is 55. May be used when the requirements regarding setbacks, side and rear yard met. Front yard is fine, backyard is fine. He's offering 16 and a half feet on either side, which is the equivalent of a 110-foot lot. But we come back to Board of Zoning Appeals to establish what your required setbacks are. Okay.
You said he's offering 16.
Pardon?
He's offering
16 and a half.
16 and a half
Yep.
on each side.
And that is if centered on the lot. If you guys wanted to slide it one direction or another, you're entitled to do that like we did on College Road or College Avenue. If you wanted more on one side, after hearing the comments in the public hearing, you're entitled to do so as long as Mr. Bishop would agree to the comments. But this is pretty similar to the other ones that we've had, except that we're getting a little narrower house than what Mr. Coles had proposed on, goodness gracious, on Luke Street, on Dillard Street, and a few others that we've seen. Okay.
So the houses that's over on High Street, they are not in this footage?
On High Street?
Is that High Street where the school is, right there?
Oak Street.
Oak Street, yeah, Oak Street.
If you look at our zoning map, the subject property is here approximately. Okay. You go to Oak Street, to the rear of those properties, it is the R2.
Okay,
You can see that entire section. You go north of 4th Street,
okay.
you know where 4th Street
Yeah.
comes across East 4th Street? When you go north of East 4th Street, including Bagley and all the way up to Sea Park, that's actually an R1 zoning designation. This is R2 zoning, and the lot's about right there.
Okay. Different size. Okay. So,
And
now,
R2 versus R1 zoning as far as property widths.
Let me run and get my book real quick so I can read it to you, if you don't mind. I'll go get my zoning on this. Excuse me, very
There
quickly.
you go.
I know it's me, it's not anybody else. I'm just not.
Are y'all gonna speak tonight?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
yeah, our house was built in 1907, and this is just changing our whole.
We have to wait until we open the floor.
I'm sorry, I can't,
Ma'am.
She said
We
her
have to-
house was built in 1907, and they feel like it's
Ms.
using
Scott.
fabric.
We have to
Ms.
wait until
Scott.
we open. We have to wait until we open
oh,
that.
stop, okay.
Yeah.
The public hearing.
Yeah, we have to.
Thank you, sorry.
no problem.
Is this yours?
Perry Mason and Medlock.
That's good,
Let's
that's
see,
your
is
job.
it $1 million I've been looking for?
I don't know.
If it's not $1
Oh,
million,
it's
so
Lloyd.
I guess I need a leash.
it ain't $1 million. Put it back.
There was just an
In the
envelope under
R1
here.
district, minimum lot width is 100 feet. In R2, it's 80 feet.
Okay.
Width, you said 100 width?
In R1.
R1.
That would be a new lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then R2 is 80, and this is R2.
This is R2.
But that's
But we're
if
dealing
it
with
was
55.
now, but because it's already recorded, and it's,
Non-conforming lot,
right,
yeah.
right.
Which the vast majority of town is, and that's why we meet as often as we do, because it's usually these old lots,
Non-conforming,
these non-conforming older lots.
Mm-hmm.
The new ones are easy.
That are
'cause
already,
when they develop a lot, you tell them, hey, you got this and that, but we're dealing with old historic lots or
Right.
infill lots.
I didn't realize it was a lot. It looks like a side yard. Don't look big enough to be a lot.
Yeah, it's a separate unit parcel.
yeah.
And if you like those in public hearing.
Okay. Okay.
Unless you have any other questions.
Since we have no other questions, I hereby open the floor to the public hearing. Anyone here to speak for this property? Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm the one asking for the variance or the request to build a new home.
Okay.
I mean, that's all I know. If we can do it, we will. If we can't, we can't. So that's all I can ask.
Thank you.
So, is there any other person present to speak for this property? Is there any more, or anybody else want to speak for this property? I hereby close that session, and hereby request, is there anyone here to speak against? Please.
It's $5 in a jar.
Sorry, guys, I just had a total knee replacement. I'm a little slow moving.
But you're up and moving, so that's good.
Okay, this is my husband Curtis. I'm Antanya Herring, and we purchased our home at 801 South Main back in 2009. And we're under the impression we do have a shared driveway there that's adjacent to the property. I did not bring my paperwork because I cannot physically go upstairs to my file cabinet to get to my paperwork. But I did refer the conversation over the phone, and I thought it would be available. But we did purchase our home because of the historic features and the significance of the block in the area here in Blackstone. This is something that will be changing if you allow this to be built right here. in this area. It's like you are infringing on our rights as property owners. You are squeezing a house there that does not belong. It's been vacant for over 30 plus years that we're aware of. It's basically been a driveway. It's been a flooded driveway off and on throughout the years that we've owned the area. So therefore, if you put a house there, you're going to be adding water coming back on our house because the elevation of that house is going to be pulling water over to our property and causing a major problem with the grading of that area. So that will definitely be a problem. But you'll be adding a house on a lot that does not meet the standards of this area at all. Our house was built in the Victoria area. Our house was built in 1907. It's known as the Cardoza Epps House, and it is on a national registry that contributes to your historical data in this area. And it means a lot to Blackstone. So if you're just gonna put a little tiny house next to it in between these two big Victoria houses, you are tearing down your structure for historical area in this data, which plays a very important part of Blackstone. And that is the main reason we brought this house. So just the thoughts of someone asking to put a tiny home in between these two big houses is shocking. When I received this letter last week, I was just floored. I was calling all the attorneys in Richmond saying, who can I get here at Christmas time? I can't get anybody here. But I'm just floored. I'm shocked that y'all would even consider this proposal. Very shocked. Very shocked. It would be a huge eyesore for me to even open up the curtains on that side. I know we have work to do to our house when we get back here, but just the thoughts of throwing up this tiny home in between would be like sardines there. The house would be too close to our house. You're taking away everything. Me as a property owner, you will be pulling down our property value to put this house next door to us.
Do y'all live there?
We come back and forth, and we actually have work to do to our house. I mean, we poured over $70,000 with our last renovation to this house. So when we come to town, we have plans to add more renovations to it because Lord knows these houses aren't cheap to maintain, and just painting it is $5,000. But to come and do work and invest in Blackstone, you are making me not want to invest or bring my folks here. When I come here, I bring my team of contractors and everything else. But to do this to me, I can't believe it. We have invested in Blackstone, but this is ridiculous. This is historic property, and to just tear it up like this is awful. This is our driveway, basically, and you want to put a property there. Very shocking.
Okay, Mrs. Herring, thank you very much.
Can we do questions, or we have to wait? Was there ever a home on that property that we are referencing? Yes, okay, so,
Yeah, not for 30 years or so.
okay, so there,
How long ago?
I've been around Blackstone 30 years and prior to that.
okay.
More than 30.
So,
Very quickly.
yeah.
I want you to understand, no offense to your comments, this is not considered a tiny home. This is almost a 2,300 square.
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to ask.
big
What,
house.
16?
1,600.
And so how many square feet is your home?
Almost 3,000.
So yours is a 3,000?
A big
Okay.
Victorian.
Footprint still 22 by 53.
It's 22, 36, it's like 1,600 square feet.
36. Okay. I had it
So
written down on
1,600 square feet?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and yours is 3,000 square feet?
That's what you wrote.
And where they live.
Footage.
Front porch of the deck, but the house.
The front portion of the deck make up the difference in the square footage, excuse me. It's 1,600 square feet of heated space.
Okay, okay. And so you referenced the house as a tiny home, but this house is not classified as a tiny home, correct?
No, ma'am.
Is it the same structure as the one that's being built across the street
Yes, ma'am.
right now? Okay, and is that 1,600 square feet also? Okay,
You were putting it in between two big, massive homes that are Victorian in nature, and they're both at least, mine is 20, almost 3,000
Okay.
square footage. I'm not sure the Wolf's home, but they are going to be squeezed between two big, massive historian homes that it's not enough square footage on the lot that was known as our driveways.
I understand what you're saying. How long ago did you buy the property, sir?
I've got it under contract right now.
So you haven't actually purchased
No.
it? Okay. So because it is a driveway, have you considered purchasing it so that the house would not be built there?
Oh, I would love to take hold to
I mean,
it.
I'm just asking, if that's a issue. Yeah.
We went to that tax sale that day knowing that it was just a driveway. And Mr. Bill Smith, Spencer, said he would call us after he won it at the tax sale. He never contacted us. And I was wondering, what in the world are you going to do with our driveway? He never contacted us. So this whole thing was very shocking to us.
So when you brought the property, and I'll let y'all get in a minute. When you brought the property, you stated something about it being a shared driveway?
Yes,
Shared with whom?
the Wolves.
Okay, so, but neither you nor the Wolf owned that property, correct?
No, the Wolves owned it, and during his medical, he had a
Died, came back, and like,
he.
the property was sold in 2022.
Oh, it was, okay.
It was
So
they lost it
okay,
in a tax
okay,
sale.
okay.
Mr. Spence purchased it 2 years ago.
Yeah, we
22.
Is that right?
Okay.
22?
we went to the tax sale not knowing the whole thing. And if we would have known it was two lots, believe me, we would have purchased it, but we didn't know it was two lots.
Okay.
We were under the impression it was just our driveway. And it was like, what are you going to do with the
So you
driveway?
thought it would be no way possible that somebody could build on it?
Correct.
Okay.
We just was like, what are you going to do with our driveway?
Okay.
Philip, I have a question. So it's normal, standard for someone to request a variance to a property and they don't even own the property?
As long as they have it under contract. It's a legally binding agreement.
Okay.
And typically what you'll see in a zoning contingency in the real estate business, anybody that's done these kinds of things, I put contracts on properties before, I think people put contracts on properties that I've represented before. And what they'll do, because they don't wanna buy something and then find out they can't do
Right.
what they wanna do.
Right.
So I add a zoning contingency typically in the contract, and if the zoning contingency doesn't go through, then Mr. Spence will, or a subsequent buyer, the property will still be for sale, and they'll try to sell it to somebody else for whatever purpose.
Okay.
Because it was paid for, I don't remember how much they paid for the lot. I don't remember.
It was over 5,000. Yeah.
It was the same time when, that piece of property over on Tunstall Avenue was sold. If you remember, there was a really bad old warehouse that had collapsed over there. When they cleaned it up. It was at that same tax sale. I guess 2 years ago thereabouts.
And I did have another question. I did speak to one of my planners, and they did say to me, according to the variance request, how does a building a home on a lot is justifiable? If I understand the definition of a variance, that's when an individual is seeking a hardship. Building a home on a lot is not considered a hardship. So could you please explain this to me?
When it's,
I think it's the standard of what the town of Blacksburg Board of Zoning Appeals, typically this would be handled administratively if you could provide the setbacks, and those are typically done, okay? In this particular issue, the Board of Zoning Appeals has specifically asked for lots of this size, or approximately this size, to be brought to them so that they can adjust the setbacks on either side, okay? it's only a matter of the setbacks is what he's presenting. If you look at the code section that's been advertised, but it's a matter of policy by the BZA, I guess a year and a half ago, when we started facing these cases pretty regularly, when we started seeing a big upsurge in building permits and construction and affordable lots in the town of Blackstone, I think it was a matter of policy that the BZA wanted to see each of these cases come before them.
I have a question. I don't mean to be nosy or anything. So is this going to be a retirement home or a?
Originally, it was planned as our summer home and also retirement home. And as I'm retired, my husband still works. So it's gathering for both. And then the fact that it was a retirement home across the street, yes, we had planned on coming to town for both. Because if one of us was too ill, we would slap the other one in the nursing home and we could still go back and forth. But yes, we had planned on retiring here because it was perfect for us and our lifestyle, because our business is mobile, so we could go back and forth. And at some points, he would still work our summers and we could still be here. But as our kids were in college, we would go back and forth to Chesterfield, where we do live full time.
Okay.
But yes, we never rented out the property because we love the house so much. Our memories are amazing here. So yes, we do want to still retire here.
Okay.
I have a question. Will this new house have any appearance of being a Victorian style, or is just gonna be a 2023 style house built there?
I can show you a photo on my phone I have, if you'd like to see that.
With the style of the home would be.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out.
Pretty much like the one across the street.
Yeah, I have the drawing, but that's, you can show me the drawing, but would it be close to a finished product?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a
You wanna
Victorian,
have a look?
And that's not a Victorian look.
doesn't look like what's there.
We saw the drawings. That's a typical house. It's not a Victorian look.
What's there?
So Philip, would that have any bearing on the value of their homes, that home being built there?
Yes. Depreciation.
I think it would appreciate the property.
Okay.
The simple fact is, this is a home, we have some homes there, one's not occupied. And a green home, but the White House is occupied full-time. We've had some issues with blight and that sort of thing. On town's behalf, we'd be very pleased to see new construction in the town of Blackstone. It's unfortunate that Ms. Herring feels differently, and we agree to disagree, and there's no
We do.
personal malice whatsoever. But the setbacks are, and he specifically chose this style because across the street, he had the same issues. His was a little different in that he had to have 35 feet on the corner. So you had to have a fairly narrow house on that lot as well. If you're familiar in the R2 districts, again, on a corner lot, you have to have 35 feet on the side, and that's why it looks a little set off, but he maintained the 12 feet on the other side on a 70-plus foot lot. You know, I'm the financial manager of the town and
Yeah,
all those
I
kind
was
of
just
things.
curious.
And, again, no personal malice. I think growth and development and new and improvements, especially when we've had homes declared blighted in the neighborhood, I think is a testament that people want to invest in Blackstone. And we like investment in Blackstone. I don't think it's a depreciation situation. I would think they would appreciate the value of the property.
You said you don't think it would.
Depreciate?
Mhm.
No.
Thinks it would appreciate, raise the value.
Pardon?
You said, you think it will
You know,
appreciate
when
the,
you have new homes in a neighborhood,
Right.
they're gonna create comps, and they're going to give a square footage accommodation that people can appraise their homes. And I would think new buildings would have a higher comp value than something that, it's a comp, which is a comparable. People use an appraisal, so I would think that new square footage would raise the comps.
this home that's being built would be, what, $280,000, $300,000 house?
Yes, sir.
But you would tear down your historic property value.
That neighborhood is declared a Blackstone Historic District, okay?
Yeah, but we're already building houses like that in the neighborhood.
Because it's not mandatory. Downtown, so everybody knows, we had 2 historic districts in Blackstone.
You do.
We have a historic district that was created back in the 1980s to allow people, that designation was given in the 1980s, to allow people to apply for, if they chose to,
The designation.
for historic tax credit,
Oh, okay.
if they chose to. Now, in the downtown historic district, which is post office to Hardee's, a block off either
13
side,
block.
they have mandatory review standards. You also get the benefit of being able to apply for historic tax credits and other tax benefits and that sort of thing with the house, which will be available to you guys or the Wolves or whoever would want to do that. But the district that they're in is not a mandatory district. The district that encompasses downtown, that is mandatory development standards, that has mandatory review process through DBI and that sort of thing. This district, this was created in the 80s, was really, Bill Armbruster, I don't know if you guys remember Bill
I do.
Armbruster.
Yeah, I do.
Remember that name, Armbruster's Restaurant?
I do.
He was pretty energized by fixing up on homes and doing things in Blackstone, and this was a tool or an opportunity, but it's not a mandatory. You don't have to meet a minimum setback or excuse me, a minimum construction standard. Doesn't have to be brick. It doesn't have to be this or that. It's a non-mandatory historic district intended for the benefit. You live in it. It's
I do.
intended for the benefit of the people there, that they can access state funds and tax benefits.
So, all right, so have you said what you wanted to say? Like
Well-
Ms. Wolf?
Okay, but saying that, our house is the Cardoza Epps house, and we are on the National Registry. So you are tearing that historic fabric on our side of the block, even though you do have a new house across the street from us. So to put that house, a brand-new house, in between 2 historic Victorians, yes, that will definitely change our side of the block. Okay. So, is there any other questions for us?
I don't. Any other persons?
Okay,
Not at the moment.
thank you so very much.
Ms. Wolf is your name? Okay.
No, that's there. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I know exactly what they're wanting.
Hello.
My name is Miranda Bowman. I am Robert and Laura Wolf's second daughter.
Okay.
They bought the house in 1994, and that side lot has literally been a driveway ever since. There has not been a house there. As my parents vote, they gave me the house, but I understand that it's still in their name, so you need their vote, and they said no, that they don't want a house built there. Especially me, if I'm going to be working on the house at 807 South Main Street for the next couple of years, that's literally, like, I don't even understand how that side lot got sold. If I want me to be completely honest with all of you, I don't understand how any of this happened. My father had a heart attack and died and was brought back by EMTs in 2021. And he's literally been in a hospital ever since. And my mom, she left in February of 2021 to take care of my dying grandma. So it's just been me and my siblings here. So, and the only paper I remember legitimately getting was the paper for the shop property at 515 Tunstall, that they were knocking it down and that it was getting auctioned off. That's the only paper I got. So the fact that the side lot got sold and none of us knew, like my sister was the one living there at the time, Taylor, and she never got any paper. Like even when I moved in February, I went back and looked and I didn't find anything about Bill Spence and anything. I went to the courthouse. I tried to make sure, like I tried to find everything I could about that property. And I just legally, like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, it's making me feel like I'm losing my mind, like I'm crazy when I know I'm not. Like, I feel like Mr. Vanderbrook had something to do with all of this. I feel like he was in cahoots with Bill Spence across the street, because I called him about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when I found out that that lot was sold. And I never even got the decency of getting a call back to tell me, hey, like, there's somebody else who's trying to buy it. Like, he couldn't even give me the decency. And I feel like, because when I moved in January, we had a meeting that I was told in January that if I did not get the house fixed, the house painted and the stuff off of the roof, that it would be knocked down and taken from my family. So I'm not understanding how any of that's okay.
Be happy to respond and give you.
And
Be happy to.
go ahead.
No, I'd like to go to the microphone. So be recorded. Fact of the matter is, the 55-foot lot was in the name and the title of Robert and Laura Wolf, and because of a failure to pay real estate taxes, it was sold at a tax sale, approved by a circuit court judge, and the sale went through. Taxes weren't paid. Okay, we did meet. The house has been declared blighted. Okay, by the town council. There have been efforts, and I'm very pleased to see that there have been efforts with the roof, fixing holes, patching holes. We don't get into, and I'm not sure where Miranda came up with this information, we don't get into painting the house, or we would have gotten into it 10 years ago. Painting is not part of a blight designation. It's exposed structure, thus the holes in the side of the house that were not repaired after a tree hit it. If you guys remember, a tree fell on the house. We helped the Wolves immensely by cutting the tree off the house. Maybe Miranda forgot about that, I don't know. But it is factual that the town has gone out of its way to assist. And any assertion that Mr. Vanderbrook, who I assume is me, had anything to do with this is patently false and simply untrue. The fact remains the Wolves did not pay the taxes and the property was sold in a judicial sale approved by the circuit court judge.
Meanwhile, I'm not disagreeing, none of that. I understand that the taxes were due. So don't get me wrong on that. But the fact that my father was in the hospital and he couldn't even get the decency to get a letter, that's what I'm talking about. No, it wasn't. I'm not going to get into it with you but this whole thing is crazy. My vote is no. And I'm sorry about being irate, but this is I definitely feel like he was in cahoots that he was going to knock my house down in April or May, and then he was going to be able to get it and then sell it to Bill Spencer, whoever, and they could build this big ass house. Sorry. This big house on that lot.
It was not the town manager. It was the town council representing the town because of the blight.
No, and I understand that. No, I'm saying about, like, I feel like he had his hands, like, he knows these people. Like, he knows Bill Spence. He knows this person. Somehow, he's got to know them. And he has been in cahoots with them.
Yep, sure.
The last time I talked to Miranda on the phone when she dropped the F-bomb on me on multiple occasions, I hoped that she would understand. One, I do not, and I repeat, do not, get into cahoots with anybody. We've been immensely patient with the Wolves. In fact, I called Mr. Wolf and told him that the property had been sold months before. Why he didn't tell anybody, I don't know. But I dare say the circuit court judge would not have approved if the attorney who was handling the tax sale, and I don't know if it was the town taxes that weren't paid or the county taxes, but I dare say it was both, that the proper procedure was followed by the attorney. And I can't say it was for the town or the county, but because there are double taxes, you know, you got town and county taxes, but the end result is her assertions are false and malicious and not true.
Now, thank you, Ms. Benobit. Thank you, Ms.
I was going to say,
But right now, we need to make all of our conversations directly pertaining to this new dwelling that
and my answer is no.
you're the contractor, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This contractor is trying to put up this piece of property. So all comments need to be directed right now against this property. We have heard the for part of it. Now we need to talk about the against. So if you have any other comments,
Nope.
okay, so, thank you. Are there any other persons present, willing, or want to speak against this property? Is there anybody else?
Oh, he's raised his hand.
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to, I don't have anything,
Come to the podium.
don't have anything different to add other than what my wife had said previously, but she said that every vote or every statement made a difference, so I felt like maybe I should, but I also am opposed, so the two
I'm
of us.
having trouble understanding you because of your mask. Do you mind taking it down? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm opposed also to them building a house in between the two. And I wasn't gonna, but my wife said I should, so, but I echo everything that she said previously, and then I just wanted to say I also, oppose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going third time, is there anyone present want to come forward and speak against this property? Hearing none, seeing none, I hereby close the public hearing for or against this property. Members, now we're open for a motion for this property.
Also, any discussion, right?
But do
Make a
discussion
motion first.
after.
Make a motion.
Be a motion and a second and have further discussion. Per Robert's rule.
Motion for or against.
Motion for or against?
So the floor is now open for a motion.
So, we each get to vote?
Well,
We have to make the
you
motion.
the motion first.
Then the
Like,
motion needs to
you
be
motion
carried,
in
yea or
favor
nay.
of
Then
or against.
we have discussion. But we need the motion.
And then somebody would second whichever motion for or against.
We have to make a motion.
So I make a motion to,
Either direction.
Approve or deny.
I'm denying.
Okay, so.
I
so-
do not want this built, and I can explain why, or I
well,
don't know
you
if
just-
that's
just
appropriate.
If you get
make
us-
the motion,
Make the
please.
motion.
Second.
I make the motion to deny this
Request.
request.
Is there a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the motion to deny the billing of this property.
Now discussion.
Now, discussion. Is there discussion? Now, Ms.
Is it appropriate for me to explain myself?
Now's the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. I have listened to both of you very hard, and I did go look at the property. I'm a Richmonder who moved here 5 years ago. And I moved here for the joy of small town life and our culture. And I think that's where the value lies in these small towns. And I know we have to have development. And I know we have to have new construction. And I know we have to have businesses. I live in a house built in 1896. I know exactly what you're going through. And when you explain what you were going through, I'm on your side. Because I think people will move to Southside because of the beauty and life in our small towns with very careful development. But if we're not careful, we're going to look like Hull Street. So that's why I've voted. And I'm probably going to get stricter because a lot of people, not you, sir, I admire the house you've done on Main Street, but everything's about money and building, and they don't realize how it impacts the locals. And my husband and I specifically chose Blackstone for our way of life and our culture. And we would have been just as happy in Cambridge or Victoria, but we have to protect it and we have to work hard. So if we just don't start cracking down, we won't recognize Blackstone in 5 or 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Mr.
other
Queen?
discussion?
Any other discussion, Mr. Queen?
I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just strongly emphasize, as this young lady said, I do have a great concern for Blackstone. I'm not concerned about who owns what or whatever. I'm just strictly looking at what our requirements are already, and this is a 55-foot lot. I feel like it falls well below what it should be, and we do have to protect things and protect Blackstone and protect the essence of Blackstone. I mean, in another situation on another lot, I might feel differently. It might work for me, but they're on Main Street, and in that little narrow lot, I just don't see it. It does not appeal to me at all. The parking situation, I have a shared driveway. Boy, do I know that well. But the parking situation, all those things, those are the problems that you can find in Petersburg or Richmond or some other places. And I would really hate to see Blackstone in another couple of years, I feel like, be struggling with some of those things in the town limits. And it's just not necessary. We just do good planning, and we have to stick to it. The ordinances are there. The people before us came up with these regulations and requirements and things before for a reason. And so I very strongly feel, no, it's not for me.
I just wanted to add something too. When my out-of-town friends and family come here, they are utterly charmed by Southside, and they're utterly charmed by Blackstone. They love the people, they love the way it looks, and we need to promote that. And to the best of our ability, hold on to our look and way of life, to the best of our ability. I mean, I know we have to do a few things, obviously. But, and you're living in an historic house, and all these tourists drive down Main Street. That's one of their first impressions.
Ms. Frisbee.
I don't have anything to say. I mean, I have mixed emotions just because it's a deeded plat that, you know, at one time there was a home on it. And I do understand the type of home would be more modern. You know, I don't know if there was any compromise there to build maybe another type of home that would resemble what is already there. But, you know, if someone purchased a property, I mean, it should be theirs to kind of do what they want. And, you know, if the left and right want to purchase that property to make sure that nothing is ever built on it, then I think that should be allowed versus letting someone buy the property that would build something different. So, I mean, I think that's just some of the things that we should be mindful of if one of the property owners can purchase it. You know, and if they can't, then they forfeit their right to say what can go on that property. So that's
Exactly.
only the comments I have.
Okay. I have mixed feelings myself about that. I've been to that property, passed by several times, looked at it from the Oak Street side. Well, you can't see it really from the Oak Street side and the Main Street side. I would like to see a piece of property or new dwelling there that would be close to the historical view. I know maybe if the lot was larger, we might not be having this conversation back and forth because the variance would not be asked for. So, with that said, like I said in the beginning, I have mixed feelings. My last house was 3,000 square foot, so I can understand. It was my wife and myself and 2 kids. We almost had 2 rooms and a half. I could hide from them. But that's my. But anyhow, getting back to what's on hand, there's been a motion. It's been properly moved in second. We've heard comments to and fro. So now it's time to make a vote on this,
The motion.
on the motion. So I say all in favor of allowing the contractor
motion was to deny it.
To deny.
Yeah, the motion, okay, to deny this request for this new dwelling. All in favor by showing a sign, raising your hand to say no for this property.
To say yes to the motion.
Say,
So do you wanna do individual vote, or you wanna do a group vote? I don't know if this is gonna be controversial or not, so.
You should get a voice vote. to
Okay.
clearly record.
okay. Have a voice, have a voice vote. Let it be known by the,
To deny the variance request.
to deny the variance request.
So if you're in favor to deny it, then you say aye.
Oh my goodness, I knew that was gonna be.
Thank you.
Just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I need some coffee.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
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 Okay, so it is denied,
So, it's been
4-1.
4-1 was the vote on that. So,
That is all we had. On the agenda.
okay. So, all in favor, motion carried.
Now, could we say while we're still here, if the applicant is not, he's allowed to go to the courts now, is that correct?
His relief will be for the court. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, the same guy that appointed you guys. And I think he'd have a reasonable case, but that's his decision. If he wants to do that, or if Mr. Spence would choose to do that, but that's here or there, it's their decision to decide whether they want.
They could
to.
take it further.
But appeal would be to the Sixth Court.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank y'all very much, and it is
I hope we can keep that
6:49.
Okay.
A whole hour.
I wish I